The following podcast contains strong language like what the actual fuck.
Scarecrow Festival is like the most important day of the year. What? Daft Cow?
This is just ridiculous. What the actual fuck?
Hey, what the actual fuckers, and welcome to WTAF for This Country podcast. Now, normally I'll say this is the man, but we've got no guest this week, so he is the guest. He's also the co-host. It's one and only Neil.
Hello, pal. Are you all right?
Well, I'm all right. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Well, it's a special day. It's a special episode because it's our third birthday, mate.
It's unreal. Third year, 3 seasons.
It's crazy.
Isn't it weird?
Birthday. Yeah.
It's gone so quick.
So happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, my friend.
And I'll give you the bumps next time I see you.
Oh, is that what you're going to call it from now on?
That's what the youngsters call it. So we thought, as this is a special episode, we thought we'd do something a little bit special. And we're going to go through our top 10 moments of this country. Now, we have both compiled our own top 10s.
We have.
And the plan is that we are going to try and negotiate an actual top 10 moments.
So it'll be a combined top 10 between the two of us, like that, you mean?
Yeah, so the sort of idea is that if I've got one that is at number 10, and you maybe have the same one that's number 9, we could maybe put that at number 10, and then see what else is at number 9, and then, you know, I might state a case for something that should be 8th, and you might not even have it in your top 10. But you might say, well, actually, my 8th is this, and I might say, yeah, that's actually better. So between us, we're going to compile our own top 10 moments of this country. Now, obviously, we've got the 3 series and the special. I haven't included the comic relief special.
No, well, a bit short, isn't it?
Yes, but we've also got a whole ream of listeners and fans with their top 10 moments. So we will go through those as well at certain points of the night. I've got the paper here.
Papers, by the looks of it.
Paper. What's that from? Have you never seen so much paper? Paper.
Where is that from? I recognise it big time. Anyhow.
Waterworld.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's right.
Waterworld. Okay. Welcome to the Waterworld podcast, ladies and gentlemen. No. So here we go. So what's your first?
So
At number 10.
Number 10 is, I've got Steam Fair, the episode it's from, and it's when Curtin, at the end, leaves Kerry the soda stream, which she unwraps and thinks it's from his dad. It's from her dad, sorry. And the reason I put this, I love that moment because it encapsulates everything that this country's about in its heart. So it's a lovely little scene. I know he's basically, you know, it's his good deed where he gives her the card and the soda stream. And yeah, I know it's not the funniest moment, but it's got the heart that the show has all the way through that bit.
And I think you're right, because there is a bit that's sort of quite funny, but it's a very, very sweet scene.
Yeah.
Now, trouble I've got is I couldn't split between 2.
Okay.
So I got 2 at number 10.
Greedy.
I know. Curtin slaps a drink out of Slugs' hand.
Yeah.
Threatening letters. And the Curtin and Martin fight.
Gypsy rules.
Yeah, from Peeping Tom. Now, I couldn't... originally, it was Curtin and Martin fight. But because, again, there is so much in that slapping the drink out of Slugs' hand moment that there's high comedy, but the look on Slugs' face... that I can't believe my mate has just done that to me and I'm at my lowest ebb. I honestly cannot choose between the two.
So that's like an uncomfortable comedic moment, isn't it, really? Because it's a nasty bit of comedy.
Yeah.
But it's only because Curtin has forced his hand. But no, it's a great scene. It's a scene we featured in one of our live shows. I never put that in my list, actually.
It was. Whereas...
But it's a good scene.
The fight is just high comedy, and the fact there's come on, Charlie, large potatoes, and yeah, you know, I play gypsy rules, I fight gypsy rules.
Yeah, no, it is a great scene, and that nearly made it into my top 10. That's been edged out with some of the other ones. It's ones that gave me more of a belly laugh,
Right.
my own personal laughing moments, rather than, like I said, number 10. I included it because I do love that scene with the soda stream and the heart that it has within it.
So would you say that then that's well, because like you said, have you not got either of those ones that I've chosen in your top?
No, funnily enough, but I nearly had the the slap drink.
Okay, so and they're both quite similar in the fact that they are a little bit comedic, but they've got the bit that tugs at your heartstrings.
So being that it's on my list, but it's not in my top 10, I would happily put that in the top 10 because it resonates the same thing that I said.
Okay, I'll take that.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
I did put it on my list, and it shows it's got, you can see Curtin's guilt for doing it. The worry.
When he walks away, he looks devastated. He looks absolutely devastated. But yeah, okay, so we'll put that one at number 10 then. Curtin slaps a drink out of Slugs' hand. Now, at number 9, some people may be shocked by this one, but I've got the BLT.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, obviously it is a classic This Country moment. You know, many a meme has been made out of it, and the whole bit, right up to the fact, it's one of those moments that is almost like a sketch. Because it even has the button at the end. So they have the whole thing about, go on, mum, say it. And then they get her to say tomato. And then the way that Kerry is like laughing. And then she looks forward and goes, I still can't stop thinking about those monkeys. Yeah. And there's a perfect button to that scene.
I know. Well, I've got it higher. So
you've got it higher, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's an iconic scene. So that, to me, exactly for the reasons you stated, is a comedic genius moment. It's a sitcom gold. You remember, those shows like usually on Channel 5, and they do the top 100 sitcoms or whatever. That's the clip that I think they would use in something like that.
Do you think so?
Yeah, that one, or there's another one which is in my list as well, obviously.
So out of interest, then, what number have you put BLT out?
So that's number 3 for me.
Ooh, number 3.
Because when I first heard it, remember it was fresh, we hadn't heard it before, nobody had really mimicked it yet. It made me roar with laughter, and that to me is a good sign. I literally rewound it and watched that bit again just because it made me laugh so much. And then afterwards, not just through the WTAF or the Dump Gang or anything like that, you were hearing it at work, other places. Did you see This Country, that tomato bit? So, yes, it's gone down as a classic scene.
But see, that's the thing. I don't know whether or not then that makes me not get bored with it, but the fact that, well, I've heard it so many times.
But then we're in the place where you are going to hear it so many times, aren't you? We're in that bubble of we're going to keep hearing it. But you have to remember your reaction to when you first heard it.
Yeah.
And that's how I played this. And that, to me, was a top laugh.
It's become iconic.
It has. And it's also in one of my favourite episodes. So.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think it would be cheeky to take my number 9, your number 3, and then divide it by 2 and put it as number 6?
No, I think that makes it fair then, doesn't it?
Do you think? Well, I mean, look,
I'll fight. I would genuinely fight for it to go higher, but I'm also, quite diplomatic and understand that.
But I want to see. I want to see the nasty Neil. You need to fight.
Well, fuck you and put it at number 3. To be honest, it's an iconic line, and it's probably one of the most iconic lines, and it was one of the most shared things when it first became a GIF or whatever they call these things now. And I think it should be in the top 5 at least.
Yeah. No,
I genuinely do.
I do agree with you. I do agree with you that because of just the iconicness of it, if that is even a word. I'll tell you what then. Let's pencil it in. Let's split the difference. Let's pencil it in as number 4.
Okay, put it at number 4. Yeah, we'll put it in at number 4. And I may fight for it to go higher,
Yeah. I mean, look, it's not set in stone yet. That's all I'm going to say. It's not set in stone. So what's your number 8?
So this is from the aftermath, and this is the bit in the garden in the gym.
Right.
Curtin and Slugs in the gym, and the bit where, and I still laugh all this time when I see it, when the vicar has to get out of the grip. That
is unbelievable, because that is my number 8 as well.
Is it? That's my number 9.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Have we done? Oh,
we
right.
haven't done my number 9 yet.
Sorry, you're number 9. That's your number 9. I thought, oh my god, we are so in sync.
Yeah, well, we pretty much are, aren't we? Nearly.
Our periods are going to be in sync and everything. All right, so that's your number 9. Well, that's my number 8.
So I'm happy that number 8 or 9.
I'm quite happy for it to go to number 9. Then we can put that one at number 9.
Perfect.
But I think doing all the research for this top 10, that even though that's for me number 8, that was one of the clips that I just watched about 10 times.
It's really funny.
Because I was trying to work out, right? I was trying to work out whether the vicar did it to make Curtin feel better, or whether Curtin genuinely overpowered him. Because if you look at just after that, when he's pumping iron, he's really struggling with like a really small weight. So he hasn't got much strength. But then the vicar really looks like he's struggling to get...
That's what made me laugh, is the struggle on the vicar's face. Because I took it that he couldn't get out. I really did.
And it got to the point that he got so uncomfortable that that's enough, mate. That's enough, mate.
Which is one of those moments where that's why I think we're both in sync with that. We like that little bit of uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
In your humour. You know, when things go on that little bit longer than they should. I always find that funny.
And it's the fact it's not even like a real sort of wrestling match. He's just got hold of like his arm, hasn't he? And he's just trying to struggle to get out of the arm. And it's like the little sort of like step sideways. He's trying to get out of the way. Okay then, right. Well, let's put Curtin wrestling.
The aftermath.
I'm going to put that at number 9. There you go. So, okay, so what's your number 8 then?
So mine's minor injuries on when she's fallen over and being picked up. Vicar, your finger's going up my ass.
Wow, that's your number 8.
Yeah. It's just because it's a great line in a great little moment, but it's a short snippet. So it's absolute comedy gold, and it ends that scene. Because when you first watch it, you're like, did I hear that right? What she just said? So that's why it's lower. It's not demeaning of its comedy value. It's only because it's such a small bit of comedy gold compared to a lot of the others.
Well, I'm shooting my wad straight away. That is my number 1. As a moment, for pretty much that exact reason, that very first time that it happened, I thought, did they actually say that? And I'm fascinated, like I said, that it cut so quickly afterwards. That I'm sure that everybody for me, it is just a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a moment I don't think has to be the whole scene or, you know, a whole bit of dialogue. That for me is just one of those moments that I think you can watch that however many times and will always I'll just belly laugh every time I see that.
I mean, I struggled where to put it, I'll be honest, and that's why it's at my number 8. It moved around because of my explanation I've just said before, because it was such a perfect little nugget of comedy gold. It sort of moved down.
No pun intended.
Yeah. So, well, let's be diplomatic. I'll move it up happily, the list.
Okay.
Because I do find it very, very funny.
Okay, I mean, again, so in regards to negotiation, if I'm putting that at number 1 and you're doing that at number 8, I mean...
Do you want to know my number 1 now? I mean,
No.
Okay.
No. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to put it alongside the chart. And we'll just have a look see how the chart unfolds.
Fabulous. Have we got any correspondence we could chip in with at this moment?
Well, let me go through the ones that I've got. So Kim Peniston said, there are so many great moments, but my ultimate favourite has to be when the vicar shouts at Len after Kerry's footballing accident and Curtin comments, that was brutal. I thought he was going to cry. I mean, I think...
Great moment.
I'm not going to say whether I've got these in my top 10.
No, normally, but a great moment.
Indeed.
A great moment.
Laura Bourne said, actually, it's my birthday tomorrow as we're recording this. So happy birthday,
Laura.
Happy birthday to you.
And to you.
And she said, I would die of joy if you were to wish me happy birthday. Please don't do that. Just enjoy that you said happy birthday to you. Top moment.
You're going to give her the bumps?
Wow. Virtually.
Virtual bumps, yes.
Virtual bumps. Top moment is undoubtedly when Curtin goes to the work on the building site in threatening letters and they eat the homemade cakes. Martin testing the crumb of the cake like he's Mary Berry. Makes me cry laugh every time. And it's circa 13 minutes, 32 seconds in, and even though he doesn't say a word, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, we've seen it live, haven't we?
We have indeed.
Again, which I'm just going to quickly plug while you're doing these read-throughs. Our final live show is available as we record this next year in May. There should still be tickets available. May the 28th. So you'll see iconic moments like this, like we had in the last live one. We've had Martin Mucklow live on the stage doing his cake reviews with Dan.
Yeah. Indeed. That was fun, wasn't it?
It was. It was great. So you may get more comedy gold like that at the next live one. Get your tickets now. Come on.
Okay, Hannah Babic. I think it could be Babic.
That sounds good.
Where Curtin surprises the vicar when he gets off the train after his visit to Bristol. That was good.
That's on my list, actually.
Oh, is it? Right.
Yeah. But not on my main list.
Right,
that was on my other list. It didn't hit my top 10, but I did have it there.
Or when they call Sue pretending to be Farmer, asking for his £6, which she'd paid the day before. That was a good one.
That is.
Leah Lapiche says the reveal of Mandy's tattoos.
Classic.
Classic. Helena White says the scene where they drive away from Mandy in driving lesson. Stop hitting the bin and being round the wrong way. So much happens to make it the best scene. And Izzy Simmons says the conversation with Mandy going on about Harry McClary after Kerry tells her about book club. So that's another one. We'll go through some more a little bit later on. Thank you very much for those.
Yes, thank you.
So where are we? We're at number 7. Well, my number 7. So my number 7 is the whole Vickers ball bag.
It's rock hard ball bag
Conversation and the confusion that obviously Curtin doesn't want to tell Kerry what he's been talking about, just men's stuff. And then it's about his ball bag and his ball going black or whatever and going hard as stone and going to drop off. And then when the vicar comes out and says, as Curtin told you all about it then. And just that fantastic line from Kerry saying to Curtin, why is he so proud of it?
Another great moment. I didn't have that on my list, funnily.
Yeah, from GNVQ. That is a fantastic moment. Right, you're number 7.
So Peeping Tom, Martin's peeping explanation to Kerry. We tried it.
Okay.
I just found that absolutely funny. That's where Paul's in his element when he does that dark sort of humour, where it goes a little bit black. Fred West, he's done some iffy things and all of that sort of thing. So that's in line with that, and it makes me laugh, and it still makes me laugh when I see that episode now. So, and again, it's another one that's been very, very quoted again. It crops up all over the place now, doesn't it? Especially if you're on these forums.
It does. What did you have for number 8 again?
The fingers going up my arse.
Right. That's right. That's why we've got nothing for number 8 at the moment, have we? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is going to be so.
But then the fact is that I'd forgotten about that bit that you mentioned, and the rock hard ball bag.
Right. So the bit you're talking about is when Kerry is talking to him. So he's talking about the DNA on the tennis racket. Yeah,
and all of that. So the peeping explanations. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go for that at number 8.
Okay.
Yeah, and then go for the vicar ball bag at number 7.
Okie doke.
Because you've done your number 7. That's your number 7.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So we'll go for the peeping story at number 8, and the vicar's. I can't believe I'm writing vicar's ball bag.
Just leave it lying around
for a top 10. Okay, right. What's your number 6?
Well, This is where I was struggling to put these in, because these are all iconic from 6, 5 and down. So let's put Mandy's tattoo book there, because that's still, again, it's just comedy gold. Those pictures, you weren't quite expecting them to be as shit as they really were you, when you first saw them? And I only do large ones. So, yeah, the tattoo book. What's not to love? What's not to love about Grant from EastEnders that can also turn into Greg from MasterChef? What is not to love?
And the thing is, it is iconic. The weird thing is that isn't even in my top 10.
Really?
It isn't. No, I had Vicar and the Traffic Warden as number 6.
What, outside?
Just the visuals of the Vicar losing it and like Curtin doing the commentary on it, going, he needs to get rid of his dirty water. That's what that is. That's what it needs to do. And just that whole thing is that, the Vicar's arms going up like some madman, and you can't hear what he's saying, but you can see that he's fiery Francis. He's getting so worked up.
Yeah.
And I just think that whole bit. But see, the thing is, the Mandy tattoos are iconic.
They're really iconic. I can imagine people getting real tattoos of those tattoos.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm gonna give you that one, mate.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm gonna give you that one because, again, and the thing is that the ones that aren't in our top 10, we're not saying that they're not good. It's just,
it's hard, isn't it?
They're just like the Vicar's ball bag.
It's like Sophie's Choice.
What? You mean Curtin's ex-girlfriend?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Okay, right. For number 5, I've got the court sketch.
Okay.
Which I think, again, becomes one of those iconic little things. And the fact that, like Curtin, we've said it before when we do the recap episodes and that, but Curtin is just incredulous to the fact that just how they look. That Martin looks fine.
Yeah.
But Kerry and Curtin look like some out of the Addams Family. He says, not a human on this planet looks like that. But it's also, I think it's also good because for anybody that has watched Series 1 and Series 2, and there's the what's it called? At the end of Series 2, then you've got the cliffhanger, and you wonder what's happened to Kerry. That's the first moment that you hear and see Kerry.
Yeah.
Because he's going on at the screen, and you're seeing Nibsy trying to get a word with Martin Mucklow, and then off of screen, you hear Kerry. And it almost then makes you go, right, she's not in prison. That's fine. And it calms you down a little. It calmed me down a little bit.
Yeah.
And it just made you think, right, okay, that's cool. She's not like she's dobbed her dad in, but she's not got herself into trouble as such. She got like community service or whatever. But
to be fair, I'd forgotten actually about that picture, and it's making me laugh thinking about it. So I'm going to give you my number 5, and this does make me laugh, but people might think I'm a bit black for finding it quite funny. Is Martin's speech to Kerry about having no empathy at the end of Family Lawyers.
I had that on my list.
So that was my number 5, but now I come to think of it, I'm quite prepared because it's making me chuckle thinking of that picture.
What, with the court sketch?
Yeah, that's a fucking blinder, isn't it? That really is.
Okay, well, we're going to put court sketch in.
Then that's not to take away from that moment with no empathy, that whole speech. Listen carefully. If you think that Paul isn't a trained actor and then listen to that speech, honestly, it's such good acting.
Well, I was doing some editing over the weekend, getting episodes ready to go on podcastradio.co.uk, which, as this is being released, hopefully the episodes will have been out. And I've had to snip all the swearing out of the episodes.
Right.
And I listened to the first part of that with Daisy and Charlie, where Daisy was saying that her dad, didn't know his lines for that part. So she had to have his lines near her so that he could do his lines. But I mean, there's
you couldn't tell.
No, you couldn't tell. But there's that part, the bit in Series 3 where he's talking about hovering over baby Kerry. Same kind of thing. It's that little bit dark. It's not a little bit dark. It's really dark.
The one in the third series is very dark.
Very dark. But yeah, so I've gone for that. We'll go for that for number 5. Right, number 4 at the moment penciled in is BLT. But what have you got for number 4?
I have the Scarecrow Festival, the very first episode. And the bit when Curtin in the background goes marching through shirtless with flames just makes me laugh. Because I mean, I don't know people that did that, but I know people with that level of anger that all of a sudden, if they got pissed off, especially when we were at school, they didn't get picked for the football team. This one kid, I suddenly saw him behind the teacher, was ripping down the football nets.
Oh, right.
So it reminds me of that sort of anger, and it makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh a lot. And
it's one of those moments that it's not the main focus of that scene, is it? It's caught in the background.
Yeah.
So, and I love those sort of moments where it's
I'm with you.
You know, I love those little bits that you've got to look for it actually, because he's gone off, and then all of a sudden the next shot is everything's in flames.
Yes, they're trying to throw the buckets of water over.
Right.
Yeah, that was a big moment for me, and you know, it's the first episode, and it landed with it landed running, didn't it? You know, it was just everything about that moment is so funny.
It landed running. That's a great way of putting it. For number 4, I've got Mandy slaps Curtin. This is in Minor Injuries.
Cockwomble.
Yeah, so that whole point where she's saying that Curtin, did you upset my mum? And Curtin, you can just, again, brilliantly acted by both of them. But Curtin, by Charlie, it's just, you can tell that he's absolutely shitting himself. And I wish we'd asked Ashley, how many takes that must have been, or whether even Charlie knew that she was going to slap him across the face, because it comes out of nowhere, and it almost looks like Charlie is trying not to laugh. And then that other moment is as she's walking out. I don't know whether I mentioned it before, but when you watch it, she's sort of got a smile on her face, and then just before she goes off camera, the smile from her face disappears. So whether she didn't know that she was in shot, or whether that was part of the character, I don't know.
Possibly.
I find that really, really strange to watch.
It's a very funny moment. And from experience of knowing people like the real Mandys, if they'd have threatened you like that, you'd have been the one bricking it as well.
Exactly. But it's almost like that's her being a psychopath, is that 1 minute she's laughing, next minute she's got a dead... I mean, I don't know whether it was that deep. I got no idea. Right, but at the moment, we've got BLT at number 4.
Right.
So...
we're going to make some notes, yeah.
Yeah, but if it was a choice between BLT, mine or yours, for number 4, I would choose BLT.
Yeah, and me. Completely. BLT's far too iconic.
Yeah, I think, and I feel like I've let this country world down by not even have the BLT in my top 10.
No, you did, didn't you? I had it number 10. Was it?
Number 9, something like that.
Yeah. So no, this is the thing with comedy. You're going to have people listening to this, and they're going to be, "What the fuck are you talking about, Pablo and Neil? You don't know anything." But the thing is, comedy, which we probably don't. But the thing is, comedy is subjective, isn't it? What we find funny, we both have similar sense of humour, I would say.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact there's going to be hundreds of people that would not find what we find funny at all.
Exactly.
So it's all subjective. This is only our top 10. This isn't a definitive.
Yeah, it is. It's definitive. It's the law. Okay, so we've got the top 3 left to do. Before we do that, let's go through a few more of these from the fans and the listeners. Kate Donaghy says, Curtin Mucklow and the skip gets me every time.
Fantastic.
Millie Clinton says, Vicar, don't the Lord work in mysterious ways? Absolutely killed me off. That was series 3.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, when Kerry shouts it. Duncan James, I don't know if it's from Blue, whether it's the Duncan James, I don't know. Where the vicar thinks Curtin is trying to mug him as he crosses the train bridge. And
that is funny. That is funny.
Okay, Dean Brown has a few here. So he says, Curtin and the skip,
Yep.
Martin's peeping explanation to Kerry.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Martin's obscene monologues about his sex life. How they do that with a straight face. Well, if you look at YouTube and some of the bloopers,
they didn't.
They didn't do it with a straight face. Crumpets without holes. Curtin and Slug circling each other in the card shop. Mandy giving her martial arts demo. Mandy's first appearance. When Kerry is outed for being the force behind the plumbing. Kerry and Martin in the van while he persuaded her to go to the police and confess, but won't even take her there. Best bit last, arguably, Kerry throwing a tantrum when her shoe is thrown on the train, followed by the almost heartbreaking way she tries to summon up her dignity to ask why he would throw the shoe on the train. Curtin's inane grin says it all. They are both permanently stuck in the mentality and wonder of year 7 kids. I think that's being generous. Waiting for the maturity bus. That's nice. I like that. But they have just no idea where it stops. Besides, would the driver even let them on if Curtin's been accused of sexting his nan? Absolutely loved it. So thank you, Dean. That was quite good because there's a few in there that
we said, yeah. Well done, Dean. There is some great moments.
Sarah Wilkinson says the bus timetable bit at the beginning of Minor Injuries. Kerry when Curtin's throwing her trainer on the train. Curtin's nonchalant response during the kerfuffle. The vicar's face most of the time, especially at book club. Kay Parry says Mandy Tyson and the Blind Man. Curtin and Jean's open garden. Mandy reading her stories to the vicar. And Liz Wallaker says, God, so many, but the trainer on the train is absolute genius. I've applied to go on a radio quiz where I had to submit a specialised subject, and I went for this country. Don't know if I'll be able to get through it without laughing.
Oh,
so
well, good luck to that if you do get through.
Yeah, good luck to that. So we've got another couple of pages of those to do, which we'll do a little bit later. Right, so we're on to the big top 3.
Yeah, well, you know my number 3 already.
What was your number 3?
Tomato!
Oh, right, okay, so we've already done that one.
For me, but I don't know your number 3.
Well, my number 3 is Curtin and the Wheelbarrow.
Okay.
From Threatening Letters. I mean, we again, in one of our live shows, we went into it with a lot of detail and made it look like an old silent movie because we think it's straight out of Laurel and Hardy. It's straight out of Charlie Chaplin, those kind of movies.
Well, I'm going to blow my load and tell you that that's my number 2.
Ooh. Well,
because that is near on pure, perfect physical comedy that Charlie did there.
Okay, right. So let me think now because, right, well, obviously my number 1, finger up the arsehole, we're going to have to try and find somewhere to put it.
Yeah.
Aren't we? And I mean, it depends. Let me go through. So that my number 3 is the Wheelbarrow.
Yeah, my number 2 is the Wheelbarrow.
My number 2 is the whole driving bit of Driving Lesson.
Okay. Guess what? That's my number 1.
Is that your number 1?
Yeah.
Is that your number? Well, then to be honest, I think that should be number 1. If that's my number 2 and your number 1,
comedy genius. The first time that we properly see outside both of them physical comedy.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? It's the whole situation is just right from Ashley turning up with the brick in the pillowcase to get out of here to the whole bit where we're facing the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's just a whole section.
Yeah. Kerry running after, and how many times, I mean, Curtin wasn't doing it as a joke, but how many times if you've had your other half or another member of family that they have the door open and the car's running that you drive off just a little bit, but that whole thing and just the way that Kerry looks when she's running as fast as she can, then the realization, shit, we're around the wrong way, and then the fact that the vicar doesn't even realize because he's so like
it's up, isn't he? He's angry. His
mind is going. So I think putting that at number 1 is fine. So what have you got as number 2 then?
So my number 2 was the skip, the whole bit with the skip, and then my number 1 was the Driving Lesson.
So what's your number 3?
Tomato.
So, I mean, look, I know it's going to be a bit of a... if we put Finger Up the Arse as number 3, would you be happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I know I had it at number 8, but
And then if we put
it's still a
number 2 would be, what was the one you had?
skip.
Yes, the wheelbarrow and skip. So let's just go through that top 10 and see if we're happy with this. So at number 10, Curtin slaps a drink out of Slugs' hand.
Great moment.
At number 9, Curtin wrestling with the vicar.
Yep.
At number 8 is Martin's whole peeping story with the DNA on the tennis racket.
Yep.
At number 7 is the story of the vicar's ball bag, and why is he so happy about it? At number 6 is Mandy's tattoos. At number 5 is the whole court sketch.
Yep.
At number 4 is the BLT.
Yep.
At number 3 is finger up the ass. Number 2.
If anybody was listening in now, the whole court sketch and the whole finger up the arse.
I just really wish I'd got the Alan Fluff Freeman music one. Da, 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 da.
Copyright issues.
Yeah, number 3 is finger up the arse. All right.
Pop figures.
Pop figures. And number 2 is Curtin with the wheelbarrow and the skip. And number 1 is Curtin Kerry driving off in driving lesson. I think that's a pretty good.
I think that's a great top 10.
Pretty good top 10.
So what we need to try and remember is we'll put this out once the episode comes out.
Yes.
For then to people to have the discussion. So if you're listening to this, we will drop the top 10 somewhere and let the discussions begin.
Let the discussions begin, indeed. And the fact that, I think we negotiated that quite well.
Mm.
I was just
but
looking.
We're quite close to a lot of what we like, aren't we? Which says a lot.
I was looking at the ones, like I had Slugs' Run.
Yeah.
Which was another great moment.
Which I recreated perfectly.
Yeah, and the vicar shouting at Len. Yeah, you did. The vicar shouting at Len. The And Watch Again, which is my,
I nearly had that in mind, and Watch Again, which is just one of those moments.
Yeah, I had the Scorsese shot in Double Dinners when
the long tracking shot.
Yeah, so you've got Kerry finishing off with like this massive mouthful of what looks like jam roly-poly and custard, and then going all the way home and getting the sausage and waffles or whatever it is that she's got. And I'm just wondering how many times they did that, because you get full pretty quick if you're having a big mouthful of jam roly-poly. And then
you would, wouldn't you? Remember what Michael said about drinking all that squash?
Exactly.
So imagine with food. So
with food, you feel.
But then Daisy was pregnant then, so she was eating for 2.
That is true. I also had Kate Shusey, who's a psychopath. Was that another great one? The crease between his bollocks was another one. The hearing aid one as well. In Family Loyalties, when Curtin's behind the bar.
Oh yes.
And there's one person in the bar. Whose hearing aid is this? And nobody turns around. That's such a great gag.
Absolutely. It's like a classic gag, isn't it? It's just a reinvented of the same joke, but brilliant.
Yeah, and then Slugs and Kaylee and Grease was another one that I thought was...
That was funny. When we first watched that, I remember seeing it at the preview, and both me and you belly laughed when we saw Slugs come walking around the corner.
That's so good. So good. Right, let's go through a few more. Well, the last 3 pages of these.
Well, we'll fly through some, yep.
2.5 pages. Right. Kim Gaylor says, mine is Len in his lockup with Kerry. The tea towels all right exchange is one of the most poignant pieces of writing ever. It really shows how Daisy and Charlie have mastered comedy and pathos in a glorious mix. I think it's so clever and well acted. The absolutely beautiful part is we see later that Len has filled the garage again in the Dyson episode.
So fair point, brilliant point she's made.
Yeah, although that was Kerry's one that had all the Dysons in it.
It wasn't Len's. No.
Wasn't Len's, no. Anyway, James Pottinger said the number 1 is easily knock that drink out of the woman's hand, which is now officially the 10th best this country moment. Cecilia Jenkinson says, Curtin's behaviour at the Scarecrow competition, oh my God. My grandson cut his Curtin hairstyle this summer after all his mates started calling him Curtin, and I showed him this episode. He looked and behaves just like him. Ha ha ha. This show is well crafted. It's the funniest thing I've seen on telly, and I'm in my 60s. I've watched a lot of telly. Actually, let me. She says, sorry, in my 60 years. Sorry, that makes her 60, not her 60s, because that would imply that she's older than 60. Sorry, Cecilia. Paulio Barnes says Kerry wanting the toilet in Curtin's new house.
Yeah,
but wasn't that part?
That was a deleted scene, though, wasn't it?
Deleted scene, I think, but that was funny.
It was very funny.
That was funny. Jenny Turner says has to be the crumpets.
Great scene.
Lee Boot said, and that never made either of our top 10.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that one, though.
There you go. Lee Boot says Curtin throwing Kerry's shoe on the train and Kerry having a fit. Martin and Curtin having a fight. I fight Gypsy rules. Sue Tomato. Reverend Seaton's son drunk in the market square.
Again.
Fun. Mandy the tattoo artist. Mandy telling Tyson to fuck off. Curtin saying to Martin, you dirty peeping bastard, which was another good one. And he says, I've many more, but that was enough. Thank you very much for that, Lee. Caroline Lancashire said, by far Curtin not crying in oven space. That was a good one.
That was, the whole episode is classic though, isn't it, that episode?
It is. I think that's starting to become my favourite,
It's just so much in it. There's a lot of brilliant writing in that.
Indeed. The lovely Paula Neat says, oh my goodness, it's far too difficult to choose my favourite moment, but here's a couple. The look to camera from Reverend Francis Seaton at TK Maxx changing rooms is just perfectly brilliant. I think this is one of my very favourite moments. Reverend Francis Seaton recalling of his time at home with his father in driving lesson. Again,
heartbreaking there.
Like Paula says, gut-wrenching. My tears didn't stop falling for a long while. Again, poor Shahidi was perfectly brilliant. Mandy, the bird's nest and the little old blind man. Mandy book club. There are no words to describe how utterly brilliant Ashley was in delivering this. Absolutely true. Curtin reading the threatening letter in Kerry's kitchen. I was in stitches. Again, tears streaming down my face when Kerry looks to the sky and claps to slugs for shit stirring from beyond the grave. This was just perfect. I could literally go on and on and on. There are so many brilliant moments. Right, on Twitter, at Death to Spinach. Great name. Got to be when Mandy is walking Tyson. Come on, Tyson, you prick.
Yes.
Overhearing Kerry talking about her. Ashley Maguire is a full-on genius. At Outroversion, Curtin plus skip slap that drink don't smoke I vape Vickers Rockhard ball bag. Right, hang on a minute. No, I think he's used a slash to separate his moments. It wasn't Curtin plus skips. It was Curtin plus skip.
Yep.
Slap that drink. Don't smoke I vape. Vickers Rockhard ball bag. Slugs' gym. Crumpet holes. Slugs and Kaylee at Grease night. Move on. All Bowls Club bits. Curtin's lying phase. I'm glad I got that right in the end. Thank you at Outro Version. At 1 Foot in the Pod.
Oh.
Just the sight of Kerry in her henchman's suit with Curtin likening her to Andy Fordham. That was good.
Well, he's done it's a couple of times because you got the Uncle Fester reference as well when she's in the vitality.
Vitality, yeah. And then then you can see where they got for the court sketch. Then things like that. Also Big Mandis, who's a psychopath scene. At Lancashire Linda, when Curtin's phones Sue pretended to be Tony from the dairy farm. I gave you the money yesterday. At Stoker Jane, random acts of kindness. Sue's suggestion to Kerry about wiping her ass. Another great line. At William Selden says, in driving lesson from when Mandy leans into the car with a brick and a pillowcase until the vicar gets back in the car, I think you're absolutely right at William Selden, because that is officially the best moment of this country. Just
brilliant writing, brilliant acting, brilliant performing.
Indeed. We're nearly there. At Mark G1815 says, Jacob, I thought that was his dog. The vicar's son. And finally at Connor Gilmore, really love the last scene of series 1, the This Country Is Ours bit. I just think it's so humble. But definitely my most funniest moment is finger going up my arsehole, mate.
Yeah.
So thank you very much to everybody for your feedback there. That was very, very kind of you to give us your favourite moments. But we have to say that officially now, the number one moment of this country history is Curtin driving off with Kerry, hitting the bin, making Kerry have to run, getting back, and the car being the wrong way around is officially the number one moment of this country.
And from that episode, it's now fast becoming probably my second favourite episode.
Yeah, I think it's my favourite episode of Series 3.
Oh, without a doubt for me. Without a doubt.
It is. Yeah. Although after again thinking about it now, the very last scene of episode 6, where Kerry admits that she's never watched the documentary.
Yeah,
it's just another bit of genius.
It is. It's absolutely full of them. They're rich with pickings.
Yes, didn't he used to be in Blazing Saddles? Rich pickings.
Ron Pickering.
Ron Pickering. I mean, the thing is, like, now, you know, the series is finished and we've watched it numerous times. So all of the episodes now, you know, we've watched. We ask this of our guests every time we do a Superfan episode, but, you know, what's your favourite series now?
I'm still going to go for series... It was not series 3 at the moment because I've watched series 1 and 2 by far a lot more still. I haven't dissected it quite as much as I have series 3, the other two. Oh, I don't know. Overall, I might say series 2.
Right. It's series 1 for me.
Yeah, you see, I'm torn. I might say overall series 2 just because of the strength of every episode is strong, isn't it? In series, not that they're not strong in series 1. Oh, I don't know. Can I have 1T2T?
No, you can't, Neil.
All right, I'll stick with 2. I'll stick with 2. It'll change next week, but I'll stick with 2.
Okay, well, we'll do this episode again next week.
Yeah.
You know. So okay, so let's just reminisce, just to finish off. Let's just reminisce a little bit in regards to. You know, we're now sort of nearly at 150 episodes, which is crazy.
It is crazy.
And we are at 3 years. And it's, again, I don't want to say who's been your favourite guest.
They've all been my favourite. I love them all.
But I have to say, again, I picked 10 episodes to send to podcast@radio.co.uk. And I was listening back to the Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen, Jackie Llewellyn-Bowen episode, and my God, that was so much fun. You know, it was one of those moments that I will freely admit that beforehand I didn't know how that episode was going to go, because I didn't know what Lawrence was going to be like. And it was just an absolute joy. Both of them, Jackie and Lawrence, were an absolute joy.
Mm.
And it was a surreal moment to have him sat like opposite us.
Absolutely. Both of them, though.
Fully coiffed in his 3-piece, like, you know, pinstripe suit. Hair perfectly coiffed. And as you said, that he smelt lovely.
It always smells divine, that man.
And Jackie was just the sweetest, nicest person that you could ever meet. And it was definitely one of the sort of like highlights that we've had in the shed.
Definitely.
You say that, having Craig Parkinson here and this surreal moment of doing an interview where you've got Armando Iannucci talking to you. And
we've had some great guests like that. I mean, Rebecca Front is another one. If you've not searched hers out, she was fantastic. And to speak to somebody so highly regarded as an actress, and I love her work, it was another one. We've got one coming up that I thoroughly enjoyed, so I highly recommend. Well, it will have been out by the time this comes out, but Jeremy Vine was huge. I think that was a really fun one. He was a lot of fun, Jezza.
Are we allowed to call him? Are we friends with him now? Are we allowed to call him?
Of course we are. Next time we're in London, we get to ride his penny farthing. There's so many guests to name. they've all been wonderful. I don't, the whole Fingers on Buzzers crew has just been great. I don't want to single anyone out. I really don't. I just got to thank everybody, if they're listening to this from the bottom of my heart, for having the opportunity to speak to you and being so much fun.
And we've been very lucky, as we've said right from the start, with Daisy and Charlie and Paul and Paul Shahidi and Ashley and everybody else, cast and crew that have come on and chatted to us numerous times. Way more many times than probably they should or we deserve, but everybody, we're all here because we love the show so much, and for the fact that all those guys get to give us their time, and who knows what's going to happen in the future in regards to Daisy and Charlie and this country.
Well, I mean, it's been reported they're writing a new thing. What that is, who knows?
Yeah,
but that's something to be excited about. We've then got the American office. Hopefully, that will kick and be as good as the American office. This country. I was going to say, I hope it then becomes like the American office and funny in its own right.
Yeah.
There's a lot to look forward to, isn't there? I mean, Daisy and Charlie, they're only just starting. They're young. And they've got a lot ahead of them. They've got a lot of talent to take with them. So I think we're going to be watching them for a long time.
And I think it'll be... Look, I mean, we'll carry on doing the podcast for as long as I think we can. And if it means that we're not talking about this country, I think following Daisy and Charlie on their adventures and, what they're going to... I mean, at the moment... We've still got people that love talking about this country, and I think that may only grow. And who knows when it comes to the 10-year special that they do. Yeah,
and also we've got to remember it's going on to Dave, and that will find a whole new audience on there. It really will.
Yeah.
So, and we've got Daisy coming up on Taskmaster.
Indeed.
Which, talking of Dave, who used to be on Dave and is now gone to Channel 4, but that's going to be good.
Yeah. I need to watch that because I've never watched it.
It's very funny.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Very funny. I've watched those.
Greg Davis, does he do that? Does
he's like the main taskmaster, and then you've got Alex Horn, little Alex Horn is his right-hand man who basically created the show.
Right.
And sets all the tasks, and he's like the scorekeeper, and the two of them have got a great dynamic. It's very funny. And then they just have top comedians, as well as comedians that I'd never heard of, and now find quite funny when I see them. So it introduces you to new people.
Okay.
Highly recommend it.
Okay, I'm going to give
especially the Bob Mortimer series.
Right. Okay, we'll have to watch that. So if there's a bucket list guest that you still want to nab, who would it be for you?
Ooh, Russell Brand, who's always said he loves this country. Jack Whitehall, I'd love to speak to those two. Who else? I'm trying to think. Well, let's put those two first. I'd love to get those in and snare them in. And somebody else who said they loved this country, who doesn't very often do interviews, but I think would be great fun, is Frankie Boyle.
Oh, I didn't know that he said
he said he enjoyed it he was on the radio, I think, and he mentioned it as one of his TV shows that he enjoyed recently.
Okay.
So I think he'd be very funny.
Yeah, I think for me it'd be it's Kathy Burke and Dawn French.
Those two as well.
I would love to nail them. Podcasting wise, can't say things like that now.
No, I know what you meant though.
I know. So there you go. We've done it. We've had a wonderful time. It's a shame that we can't, get a birthday cake and but there you go. 3 years.
150 episodes as well, nearly, aren't we at? Or nearly, over now?
We're nearly, yeah. It's
3 years of it. Isn't it crazy?
Isn't it crazy?
Wonderful times.
Wonderful times.
Here's to the next 3 years.
Indeed. And thank you to every single one of you that has subscribed, downloaded, listened, gave us feedback.
Came and saw us,
come to the live shows. Talk to us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You know, we are but standing on shoulders of giants. That's our job. But if it means it sends the show to more people, if it makes it live on a little bit longer so that people get to hear it and get to see it, all the better. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
So again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pav.
And Neil, do you want to do? Oh yeah, you got. Hey,
you know I've got a job to do.
Yeah,
And if I've just opened the
birthday.
page, right, it might be the birthday, but here we go. You can come and find us on all the social media sites at This Country Pod. You can go to our website where you can find all sorts of information, including tickets for our live show at WTAFpodcast.com. Or if you've got any questions or anything you'd like to ask us, please do email us at WTAFthiscountry@hotmail.com.
Wonderful. And please come and support the podcast. You can go to patreon.com/WTAF. We have loads of different levels. You can get access to the podcast earlier than everybody else. And there's everything's there. Just go there. That's fine. Or if you want to just do a one-off to help support the podcast, just go to coffee.com, ko-fi.com/WTAF and buy us a coffee. That would
Most appreciated.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much. So that's it. Happy birthday, Neil.
Happy birthday, Pav.
Thank you so much. And we will see you soon for another wonderful episode.
I don't know what to say there.
I was going to say, go get plumbed, you fuckers.
Scarecrow Festival is like the most important day of the year. Daft Cow?
This is just ridiculous. What the actual fuck?